So I'm Ivo Kubam and I'm a Cameroonian. Currently, I'm based in Belgium for almost 5 years, 5 to 6 years now. But prior to that, all my life has been in Cameroon. So my primary, secondary, and university life was in Cameroon, and I started working in Cameroon before I moved to Belgium for further studies. And now I'm currently I decided to start my own initiative. So I'm the one of the founders of Graffiland, and like I mentioned before, Graffiland is a company that with the bold mission of trying to streamline unemployment. But the fact that I'm well versed with AI and data, at least there must be a starting point. So we are trying to help anyone that is not like no like anyone, but let's say non-tech professionals as of now to transition into AI and data and get very good jobs. So that is just one of the initiatives we do. Another initiative that we just started recently, even though I haven't really started talking about it on LinkedIn, we are also helping tech founders still in the AI and data consulting space to help them get high value deals within within 6 weeks using our Telot framework, which is a business innovation and marketing and good marketing framework. So that is me professionally, and then maybe yeah, kind of fun. I love playing football so much. I love playing football. I read a lot now, and that is also helping me to write a lot as well, but not as you. I don't write 5,000 words a day on progress. That is too much for me. I struggle and I get 1,000 words. Yeah. So basically, that is me. I also love just hanging out with friends, but I really love my space. But most of the time, I spend my time at home. Yeah. So
Even introvert there.
it's not like I'm really an introvert, but I think maybe with the what I'm trying to do right now, I just need the space in order to think well and try to get this startup up and running. It's quite a challenging time for me right now, but it's also
Mm,
exciting with the challenges that I'm having with the company. But yeah, so far so good.
right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, thanks for sharing. So my name's Progress Oberiko. I am an author, a writer, and an media and comms consultant. I did my master's in the UK. I did my master's in media, communications, and
Yeah,
pardon?
yeah, no, no, someone joined on the other call. Sorry to interrupt progress. So we are on LinkedIn. So, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, you can go ahead.
Oh, but there are people on the Teams call.
Yeah, on the Teams call.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, I was muted. Go ahead. I'll text him. Yeah, I know who is talking.
Uh, Okay, right. Yeah, so I did my master's in media practice for development and social change at University of Sussex, and I lived and worked in London for 3 years. I've recently arrived in Nigeria also to tackle a couple of my projects, and I'm working as a consultant for an international company based in Europe as well. And yeah, I my work is quite multifaceted. So I am into advocacy. I am at the core of my work is development and social impact. So I'm a SDG advocate. So my work cuts across gender equity, social change, youth mentoring, supporting young people in various aspects of their lives, whether it is career, it is personal development, coaching, mentoring, and all of that. And I used to work in a charity where I mentor young people within the ages of 16 to 25 as well. So yeah, and I enjoy writing. I enjoy talking as well. I write and I speak about everything across life, whether it is marriage, relationship, government, living and working abroad, immigration, and like everything relatable as well. I also do content creation. Um, I'm into content strategy, create content on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn as well, and all of that good stuff. So basically, I'm a media babe. I'm a media and comms babe.
Media babe. I like that.
enjoy everything media.
Okay, quite interesting. So on the other on the other social media platforms, are you there with your real name or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
okay,
I like what's it called? I like just one thing, doing one thing, like having one particular thing. So my name is Progress Obarico across all platforms.
okay. I'm just saying so that if there are, anyone watching and wants to know more
Yeah,
about you and to also follow and get more about your content.
yeah,
Yeah,
very easy.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's quite a good background. So if I understand well now, you are you now like really based in Nigeria, been working in your company, so it's a European company. Did I get that point well?
Yeah, so I work as a consult. I consult for different companies internationally. So I work as a communications consultant for a company based in Europe. I'm currently in Nigeria, Abuja precisely, and I work internationally as well. Oh, I forgot to mention that I'm the founder of the International Students Podcast, which is a platform that talks about everything immigration, supporting international students moving to the UK, especially, and moving to anywhere abroad. And we just talk about like life challenges, everything, career, mental health, like all of the things that immigrants face. Oh, so yeah.
Okay, and that podcast we can find it
On
on
Spotify,
YouTube
Apple
possible.
Podcast,
Okay,
and any you get your podcast on,
okay, okay.
yeah, the International Students Podcast, yeah.
So from your background, if I understand well, you did like everything prior to your masters was in Nigeria, and then you moved to the UK for your master's degree.
That's correct.
Okay. And so maybe we just stay in that context. Can you just give me us like an overview of how the way Nigeria the educational system is structured, and what is the current state of the unemployment situation back home?
Right. So the way the Nigerian higher education is structured, um, so from secondary school, you write an exam, which gives you leeway into a higher institution. So the exam is called JAM. So when you write the exam, you pass it, and then you by that time, but before you write the exam, you're already chosen the universities or the institutions that you want to attend. So then after the exam, you pass it, I think about 300, you have to score 300, 270, whatever, to be considered. So when you pass JAM, then you proceed to the university and write the university's exam. So that's, the process of getting admission into higher education. But there are three higher education, institutions in the Nigerian setting. So there is College of Education. This one, in my understanding, is specifically for teachers, people who are considering going into the teaching vocation. So it's like more or less teacher training program. So it's called College of Education. People who want to delve into the education sector, blah, blah, blah. Even though you can still, do your 4 years program in the university, for to become a teacher. But people who may not be able to like afford university or whatever can go to College of Education, or older people can also like go and do teacher training, whatever, in College of Education. So then the next one after that he is polytechnics. So for polytechnics, there are polytechnics. You graduate with national diploma for the first stage. So that how do I explain this? So for polytechnics, there are two stages. So the ND is called like OND, Ordinary National Diploma. That's what it's called. So you do that for 2 years, and then you do a 1 year training. IT is what it's called. You go and like do work in a company that you hope to work at when you graduate. So for me, I went to a polytechnic. Anyways, before I go to my story,
Yeah.
so after your ND, after you do your 1 year IT, then you go for your HND. So HND is called Higher National Diploma. And you have to have an OND before you can do a HND. So HND, and then you graduate. HND is 2 years as well. And then you graduate and you go for your NYSC, which is a mandatory 1 year period where every Nigerian graduate has to serve the country. They will be posted to a local community where they can work, use their skills, talents, whatever to serve for 1 year, and then they come out and enter the job market. And then there is university. So university, 4 years for like normal degrees. Then for medicine, law, and other more. I don't want to say professional because all courses are professional, but other certain courses could be 6 years, 7 years, 5 years, depends. So that's for university. So for polytechnic, polytechnic is more or less a university, but it gives you the option to practice. So the polytechnic is more hands-on. So if you are what should I say, doing engineering or electrical engineering in a polytechnic, it allows you to like learn more practical skills compared to a university, which is more theoretical, I think. So that is what it is. And yeah, getting into Nigerian universities is also not that easy because Nigeria as a country is a very populous country, like the most populous in Africa. And you can imagine, people, the amount of young people struggling to access education is also not very easy. So yeah, it's quite competitive. So some people just make do with the options available, which is either going to a polytechnic or college of education, or if you're lucky, university. So, but there is I would argue that a polytechnic and a university are the same because you graduate with like the same degree, like you it's literally the same education process you go through, but then there is, and you're not less intelligent because you went to a polytechnic, or you didn't go to university. You're not less intelligent. But then in Nigeria there has been for the longest time a dichotomy between HND degrees and BSc degrees or university degrees. Excuse me. So there's been that dichotomy for the longest time, and the government will always say, "Oh, they're going to make HND degrees and university degrees the same," and till now they still not done it. So yeah, there's been sometimes some companies or people look down on HND holders. Some prefer university degree, blah blah blah. But it's equal in my opinion. So as I was saying, so myself, I went to a polytechnic. I schooled in the Delta State Polytechnic, Ogara in Nigeria, and yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Obviously, you can tell. I don't know if there's anything special about like going to university and going to a polytechnic because it was with my HND degree. I still went to proceeded and went for my masters in the UK. So yeah, that's a little bit of my journey as a HND holder, and then now a master's degree holder. So I did my HND, my first degree in business administration, and now I have a master's in media and development. So that is more or less what I lead with now, because as I said, I'm a media babe, so I'm not so much into business or business administration. I mean, I use my knowledge of entrepreneurship, business management, project management, all of that I learned in my first degree in HND to also support businesses and add to my skills as well. But now it does help me even in my media work, comms work, and supporting companies in various aspects as well. So yeah, that is like the different facets of the higher education in Nigeria. Hope I captured that well.
Yeah. I think you did. And while you were explaining that, I think it's almost similar to what we have back in like in Cameroon. Yeah,
Okay.
in the anglophone regions, right? So, but the only difference I think you mentioned is for you to get into the university, you have to write an entrance exams.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us, we do have some special programs, like they call them professional programs in the university, that you have to write an exams to get admission into those programs. But for the general programs, it's just okay when you succeed with, for us, is the GC advanced level, which is equivalent to your JAM, where you have the required number of points, then you can apply to get into those programs. So we don't really write exams to get into a general program. And one other difference is our programs are 3 years, while you guys have 4 years of university program, and we don't have
Okay.
the mandatory, let's say, NY, you call it like the internship kind of thing. The end mandatory internship, no, it's optional. Normally, it's not even a requirement. No.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are the, I think, the differences. Yeah, but I think basically, yeah, almost the same. Like you mentioned the college for those who want to maybe get into teaching. Yeah, and they also have the polytechnics, which you get an HND, and from there you could, go ahead to get a degree. Yeah. Yeah, but maybe one thing. So how I know, yeah, we based on statistics, Nigeria is the most populated country, and also in terms of the youth as well. Probably, I think, the youthful population, the most youthful population in the world, if I'm not mistaken. How do they cope with this population? Or there are so many private universities that are also trying to be able to do the intake of students, or how do the state universities cope with this population?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, that's why it's also quite a hassle to get into universities in Nigeria. Like there are federal universities, state universities, and these is this very, very competitive because Nigerians are naturally very intelligent people. So imagine, someone scoring 300 in JAM and someone scoring 290. Like many people score like the max of the required score. So it's very competitive, and universities are usually saturated. I remember even as someone who went to a polytechnic, in my class then we were over 1,000.
Wow.
Over 1,000 in my class, and as the year went on, who couldn't continue would drop out for personal reasons or whatever academic challenges, as life is basically. So it is very competitive, it is overly saturated, and of course there are private owned universities which, as you would imagine, are very, very expensive. So they are for the creme de la creme in the society. People who can, who want their kids to school in Nigeria. Like it's almost, I would say, the same as schooling in the UK, because as an international student, I know I paid like an arm and a leg for my master's degree. So, people pay the same or similar in private universities in Nigeria. So, these are people that can afford to send their children abroad, or maybe they want their kids to school in Nigeria or whatever. So, and even people abroad still send their kids to private universities in Nigeria
Wow.
as well because of like different perks here and there for a private university. So yeah, there are private universities, but they are more expensive.
So if it is quite challenging to get into the university, so does it guarantee that if you have a degree or you went through a polytech, would that kind of already increase your chances of getting a job? Or what is the ratio? Does, where is the unemployment coming from? Is it like those people that don't even get the chance to get into the university, or to polytech, or those that even get into it and they can't even guarantee jobs after that?
First of all, I'd like to highlight that getting a degree or polytechnic degree, getting a degree does not guarantee getting a job. That is the thing I want to point out. It doesn't guarantee you getting a job. And then, secondly, in the Nigerian context, you are considered illiterate if you didn't go to university. I know there are intelligent people who are employers of labor now, doing amazing things in their lives, but do not have a degree. However, I would argue that in the Nigerian context, it is even more challenging to accept to penetrate the job market without a degree. So I lived in UK, as I said, as I mentioned earlier. I lived in London, and I particularly worked with young people. And these are people who are, you know, they're seeing the way life is. These are people who are trying to make decisions. Should I go to university? Should I not? Like in Nigeria, you are telling your parents that you don't want to go to university. That is ridiculous. Like, that's mad. How would you say that? Like, you want to solve life. So, but then, okay, I would hear young people tell me, when they come for counseling, mentoring, whatever, and I say, hey, I don't want to go to university. You could literally have a university degree and be working in McDonald's. These young people will say that, and that's a fact, right? That's a fact. That's true. There is still job challenges even in the UK as well. So these young people, they see these things and are like, why should I waste a whole lot of money to go to university, even like go get a student loan, whatever, and be paying it for the rest of my life just to get a degree that does not even guarantee me a better life. So there are people who are like, I want to go into Forex, or I want to start my own business. I want to go into social media. Obviously, there's social media now. You can be an influencer even without having a degree. Like, there's so many options for them now that they're considering. And they're like, I do not want to go to the university. And as a Nigerian, there's a part of my brain that's like, that is ridiculous. But then, given their reality, they can speak well, they can speak, English, like their circumstances or their environment is quite different from what we have here in Nigeria. So, maybe someone who didn't go to school or could not access education in Nigeria would be considered illiterate, maybe because they are not exposed, maybe because they cannot speak well, they cannot use the right verbs when they're speaking English, blah, blah, blah. And people will judge you based on that. But then in the UK, English is their first language. It's like their major language, right? So you would see someone who is not even, who didn't go to university basically, and is able to, speak fluently. They are quite okay and all of that, and they will still get a job. And then again, in the UK, I feel like compared to Nigeria, they do not really hold degree in like that much of a high esteem as is the case in Nigeria. So they value skills more. So I work with some of my colleagues in my previous organization. Some of my colleagues did not even have a university degree, and when we are chatting, like having those pub conversations, they'll be like, oh, I didn't go to uni, and they're so casual about it. And I'm like, I cannot even say that as a Nigerian because even with my first degree and my master's degree, like I cannot say I do not have one. I cannot even afford to not have a degree. So I work with these people. Some of them even earn higher than me with a master's degree. But then we work in the same office, and someone who didn't go to university is able to get jobs. So it's quite a different reality in Nigeria. So, in the UK, without a degree, because they're focusing on your skills and, what you really bring to the table compared to Nigeria. So Nigeria, they'll first look at your degree. I know things are changing now, but like way back then, it's was even much more difficult. So degree first, and then what else do you have to offer? Is the basis of conversation in most employment. So yeah, I would say university degrees in Nigeria are very, very important in terms of securing a job in Nigeria.
Okay, so like we see Nigerians as the hustlers, like those that live in the northwest region of Cameroon, they're the ones having the businesses in Cameroon, and we feel like Nigerians are more from that angle, like they are more into the business side of things, and they don't really care much about the school aspect. So you saying that in Nigeria, if you don't go to school, you're being looked the type, especially the Igbos. I think the Igbos
Yeah,
are
the
the
Igbos, yeah.
business guys in Cameroon, so they're the one making good money, and we feel like that for them is more about the business. So, can you? Is it like really specific to the Igbos, or maybe I'm getting you wrong from the outside?
Okay, that's a good question actually. So Nigerians are very, very industrious people. They like Nigerians are the most adaptable people. I'm not saying this as a Nigerian, but even like as a Nigerian that's lived abroad and has seen, life from the bird's eye perspective, Nigerians are very, very industrious. We have, as you used the word earlier, we have the hustler spirit. We are very adaptable. We are very uh, yeah, very entrepreneurial. But we all know that the Igbos are very, very, very entrepreneurial. Like they're super industrious. It's like they have it in their DNA. So you see them everywhere you go. As you mentioned, in Cameroon, they are the ones anchoring businesses and all of that. So yeah, the Igbos are very, very industrious. I don't know how to explain it, whether it is genetic, I don't know. But we know that the Igbos are very, very industrious. Um, but then I bet you that those Igbo guys that you see having shops and having, doing businesses, all of that, I bet you that they have degrees. I promise you that they do have degrees. Like you could see a degree holder having a shop and just managing their business and just doing their thing. They have a degree, so it's not every Nigerian that is keen on a white collar job or whatever it is called. Like most Nigerians are very industrious, want to do their stuff, start up a company or doing their SMEs, small scale businesses and all that. So, but that doesn't mean that they do not have degrees. But even the ones that do not have degrees and are doing businesses, yeah, they can still thrive. Some of them are still thriving and doing well. So, but then I would argue that most of them do have degrees, but they just choose to do their own thing and just be, should I say, job creators rather than job seekers.
Okay. I think that kind of really explains, everything, because from the outside it feels like, yeah, maybe because we are more exposed to the Igbos in the Northwest region, that we feel like generally it's more like the hustling spirit, like the entrepreneurial mindset rather than thinking of school. And we also, from the movies we watch, we get the feeling like people don't care much about the government jobs or having a job. They just want to maybe, get going with hustling and business, and that is how Nigerians they see things. But also when you from abroad, when you go abroad, when you talk to others, you know that okay, no, Nigerians really go to school. And if you look at maybe some of the top doctors, engineers, we have Nigerians leading the the line in terms of those top professions. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit contradicting that from depend on the viewpoint you're having. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But just one question, because someone told me like yeah, if you're traveling abroad, you go to a country and you don't see a Nigerian, then immediately you should make a U-turn. That
They're
is what people
everywhere.
say. Yeah. And what is your take on Nigerians traveling abroad for employment?
Well, Nigerians are hustlers. Nigerians are barrier breakers. Like there are Nigerians. Someone I think I was watching a TikTok the other day. There's someone that he was saying that you see Nigerians everywhere, just as you said. Nigerians in Japan, Nigerians in China, Nigerians even in Antarctica, where people don't exist. Like I'm sure they will be there. But then it's just because one, the country is so populous, and there is not enough resources to go around for, you know, that many people. Just like a mother who has 9, 10 children, and sometimes some of these kids just want to go out and fend for themselves, either because the parents do not have enough resources to provide for them, or some just want to be independent, even when the parents are providing. So Nigerians are like that. We are very populous and we just want to, explore outside the shore of Nigeria. Aside from the fact that we have not been lucky with leadership, the kind of leaders we have had. We have not been lucky with choosing them, or sometimes even them, they choose themselves. Basically, they choose themselves and they just occupy those seats and do whatever they want. So some of their selfish desires, and yeah, they don't really care about the people. So yeah, it's the leadership that we have and the kind of economy that is kind of strangling people's talent, young people's talent, and people just want to go out there to see what they can get. That is why you see Nigerians everywhere you go in any country, China, North Korea, even. I'm sure you see Nigerian there. So it's just to seek opportunities. It's to seek opportunities, and yeah, even the ones that, as I said, even when you have a parent that is providing for you and you're doing well, sometimes you still want to explore. So they have Nigerians that have businesses, that have good jobs, that just leave to move to another country for different reasons. Some of them, it could even be for security reasons. You know, Nigeria is not the most secure country. We have our own challenges with insecurities and all of that. Um, uh, some of them, they just want to experience life in a different environment and all of that as well. So yeah, Nigerians are everywhere, and it's to seek opportunities. I think I wrote a post the other time saying that one of the reasons why Nigerians would move abroad is to seek opportunities, to just see what is out there for them, because you could be a first class graduate in Nigeria and still be jobless. Do you understand? So, like, as I mentioned the other time, I was saying, even with your going to school or having a degree doesn't guarantee you a job. So even with your first class, you will still be jobless or still be doing one casual job here and there. So people want to go where they are appreciated, where their talent and skills would be recognized, where they can have easy access to opportunities. Because also Nigeria is also is incredibly diverse in terms of tribe. So and there is tribalism here and there as well. You know, you have to know someone who knows someone who knows someone to be able to access certain opportunities. So there is also that, and people just want to live outside of this box. They want to be somewhere. Like in the UK, you apply for a job, you don't need to know someone there. If you are lucky or if you are, if they consider you deserving, they will give it to you. So, such places where those kind of things, challenges are less, even though I know they exist. People also get jobs based on recommendation, but it is not as deep in the skin as it is in Nigeria. And yeah, so yeah, you will definitely see Nigerians everywhere doing things just to survive, just to hustle, just to make ends meet and utilize their talents in other places where they are welcome and appreciated.
Yeah, I think I get the point, and maybe staying home doing nothing. Yeah, it is. You can travel abroad to find something doing. That brings me to one of your posts. I think that's how we got connected. Because when I saw your post, I think it was saying something about. I think even medical doctors they left Nigeria with their medical certificates and they are now in the UK doing
Mm-hmm.
some. Let's just categorize them as unskilled jobs. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And maybe from the outside, from Nigeria, some people will say maybe the UK is heaven, but you've been in both areas. You've been in the UK, you've seen it. You've been in Nigeria, you've seen it as well. What is your advice for those that are still back home, probably doing something that is, let's say, is good enough, and they are still looking at the UK as the next heaven? What's your advice? Because you yourself, you know what is happening in the UK. They might not know.
Mm, right. So I want to start by saying that the grass can be greener. Let me just put that out there. The grass can be greener. You can move to UK and have your dream life and have, everything that you wanted. The grass is not always greener, the other side. So, there is high expectations, there is heaven, people see in the UK as heaven, as you rightfully said, and people wanting to go there without having a plan, without, having a clear cut should I say, life plan or goal to fall back on. So it's not just to emigrate or to leave a country or move to another country. First of all, you have to like do your background research on what is obtainable, the jobs and the skills and the careers demand in that country. So, like people, for example, who migrate through education, they go for either their undergrad or their masters, and then from there, they try to navigate their way and see if they can get access to opportunities that will allow them to stay back in the country. Um, for people who go through education, international students, I always tell them there are courses that you can study in Nigeria that is quite okay, but you cannot do those courses abroad, like in the UK, for example. Those courses will not or may not get you your desired job. So you don't just choose a course because, oh, I'm very passionate about this course. It's okay to choose a course that you're passionate about, but do not hope that that course will give you your desired career option or your career path in the UK. So I'll give you an example. Political science, for example, is a very popular course that many students study in Nigeria. Political science. Now, you want to do a master's in political science in the UK. Where do you want to work? what career path do you want to go after that? So yeah, you're passionate about politics, you want to be a politician, you want to be a change maker, but where do you want to do that? Do you want to do your political science in the UK and then come back with your international degree and use your skills in the Nigerian society, or are you thinking of staying back in the UK with your political science degree and work? So how do you want to navigate into the what's it called, the parliament or whatever it is called? Because even people that were born there, it's not as easy for them. So that's a course that I think I made a post last year about what did I title it? Least employable courses in the UK. So this is quite focused on students because I get a lot of messages from them, and I work with a lot of prospective international students and also immigrants who are just trying to find their way. So that's one thing to consider. Like before you start your JACBA plan in Nigeria, we say JACBA for like immigration or JACBA is synonymous to immigration. So before you start your JACBA plan, Nigeria is not working for you or you're not getting as much opportunities, but you should have a plan. It's one thing to move abroad, it's another thing to be able to access or position yourself to be able to access those opportunities. And how do you position yourself? First of all, the course you study, if you're going through education route, the course you study. So you want to first of all research and see what courses are in demand. So tech, for example, is a booming sector. Tech, business analysis, business analyst, project management, data analysis, AI, all of these contemporary in-demand courses are things that you should be looking at to study and be ready to pivot. Don't say, "Oh, I want to stick in this in this space." Is where like it's okay to follow your passion, but then know that you should be ready for your passion to lead you wherever it leads you, not for you to choose where your passion will lead you because your passion will not always pay. So that's one thing. Know the course and the careers in demand because currently in the UK, the job market is also very saturated. Like I said it the other day, getting a job in the UK is almost a miracle, especially for international students. Yes, it is hard for even British citizens, but then for like an immigrant coming to the country, first of all, most times they don't consider your Nigerian or your home country work experience, for example. So you're Nigerian, maybe you were working in Nigeria as a general manager in a bank or whatever, and then you come to the UK. They're not most organizations very rarely would they consider that you have climbed so high in that sector. They hardly do. So you are basically coming to start from scratch, not just starting from scratch in like culturally or learning about the environment. You're also starting from scratch in terms of your career as well. So you see like a general manager, someone who was managing and doing well in Nigeria, move to UK and is doing customer service or doing a cleaning job or doing care job. It's not that those jobs are not rewarding. If it's something you're deeply passionate about, great. But if you are looking at pivoting and going higher in your career ladder and then you come to UK and you have to start from scratch, like it is a whole lot. It is traumatizing. There are people who are doing like they call it reverse jackpot. Like they move to UK and they say that, oh no, this is not for me, and then they move back to Nigeria. So because it's not always easy. It's not always easy. So as I mentioned earlier, the grass is not always greener, but it helps when you have clarity of destination. Not just say, oh, I want to leave this country, just move. Have a plan, have a life plan, career plan, whatever. When you're moving to UK, okay, you're doing a degree in like tech or whatever, for example, and then after that, what are the companies in the UK that can employ you? Where do you want to work? Where do you see yourself? This is where you ask that cliche question of where do you see yourself in 5 years? So you have to ask yourself that question before you move, not after you have moved or after you have finished your master's or whatever. So have that plan, and then also, the UK works differently from Nigeria, for example. So things like volunteering and networking also really helps. Yeah, it helps you to like navigate and penetrate the system. Well, plugging yourself here and there, and just being open-minded as you can be. It also really, really helps. So, just to wrap up and answer your question, moving out of the country or moving out of Nigeria is one thing, but know that the grass is not always greener, and you're not just swiftly going to get a job as soon as you move to the UK. It's not just going to be perfect life. Like I was watching a video the other day, a girl who came to join her sister. She just did her first 12-hour shift, and she came home crying. She was like, "No, this is not the life I saw. This is not real. This is not for me, man." So yeah, it's the grass is not always. I'm just gonna end with that.
Yeah, because from like people back home, they'll feel like just coming to the UK or generally abroad, it's going to be much easier, or maybe the way it's been painted on TV or on social media. People like on TikTok nowadays, to just make it so easy, like, oh, I just learned something 3 months and I have a job. A lot of people are not really saying the truth about what is really happening, and I feel like it's really derailing a lot of people back home, and they have a different mentality of what is happening on the ground. It's like, for example, you get this girl, maybe she has been seeing a lot of positive things from home when she came here and did 12 hours. Then I guess she finally knew that, okay, this is not what I saw from home.
Mm.
But that also, it's like a lot of people wants to, they're looking at traveling abroad. Then, for example, someone like you're returning back home. What, I don't know, like, how do some people take it? Like, I don't know, when you decided to go back to Nigeria, were some people surprised, were like, oh, what are you doing, why did you leave the UK back home?
Of course, there will be like I guess it every time. They're like, "What are you doing here? Like, what the hell? Why would you come back?" And I'm like, "Hey, first of all, home is home. Number one, this is my country. If I choose to come back, if I choose to come and visit or to return back fully, it is my decision. And then, secondly, I went to the UK for my master's. I did not go with the intention of japa or like fully running away. Like, it wasn't my intention. Even though I was open to staying back, I was open to accessing opportunities. So like, it was for my master's because my the course that I was studying, that I wanted to study at the time, was not available in Nigeria as at then. So my course is media and development. So most courses in Nigeria was mass communication, and just fully not the combination that I wanted. So I could only find that abroad, and that was the major reason I went. But then I was also open to accessing opportunities internationally. So yeah, anyway, coming back is yeah, is there are people that I've met in Nigeria that are like they're not open to living, and they don't want to leave this country. They don't want to go anywhere. They can travel the world, and because they make their millions here, they live here. It's comfortable for them here. So there are people who are also not. They're never going to, want to relocate out of this country. So yeah, in as much as you're seeing people who are asking, "Oh, why did you come back?" There are people who are like, "We die here. Like we're not going anywhere." So yeah, it works. Even in farming or famine, whatever the word is, people still survive. So no matter how bad the country is, there are people that are still thriving, people that are still doing well, people that are still raking millions monthly, and yeah, they're not even ready to. They can travel the world, they can afford to go wherever the heck they want, but they don't want to relocate. So yeah, that's another thing. Also, I am not limited by location. Wherever I am, I believe I would thrive. Before I left Nigeria for the UK, I was doing well. I had the, like, yeah, I mean, I was doing okay, quite in terms of my career and my career progression, all of that. I was doing okay as well. And even in the UK, I was able to make a name for myself and still do things that I enjoy doing. And so I'm not really limited by location. So people will always say, "But what I didn't hear," those are people that are probably myopic in their thinking, feeling like it is the best when you move abroad. It's not always the best, because even living abroad has its own challenges that, yeah, you have to deal with. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's because it's encouraging to know that, because there are some that it's not going for them abroad, and for some reason they don't accept the fact that they have to return home, because I believe there are still opportunities back home. Maybe we
Mhm.
are not seeing it, or maybe another way you can see it, like when you move abroad, you learn other things that you might go back home and maybe start some sort of
Absolutely.
an initiative, or maybe get into entrepreneurship. And that leads me to the next kind of, like, let's say, topic. I know Nigerians really, really, they have this entrepreneurial mindset, and but I think one of the options you mentioned is like, for those traveling abroad, they should really look at, like, really talking to someone that can really orientate them to make sure that whatever you're studying, you can secure a job abroad, right? But what about the other, like, looking at, because we know the government or the companies cannot meet up with the demand. Everyone is going to school now. The number of students that are going to school with, or graduating with degrees, it's way more than the like the job opportunities out there. So what is your take on entrepreneurship, especially for those who have degrees?
Yeah, even in the UK, right, it is young people are encouraged to develop skills. Like, what can you do with your hand? What can you do with your voice? What can you do? Like, what do you have to offer aside from your degree? So, entrepreneurship is a very, very, very crucial to life, right? To living the best life and just making the most of wherever you are. Same as Nigeria, having something of your own. I mean, I know at the back of my mind that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Many people are just, adding the word founder to their names lately. Oh, I'm the founder of this. And even when those things are not sustainable, even when they are not called for that, right? So some people are better off with a 9 to 5 than starting something of their own. However, it is very important to have a skill, have something that can keep you going. What if you cannot get a job? What if there is stories of layoffs here and there, especially during COVID, and like, what can you do for yourself with your hands? Is it writing? Can you write compelling stories that is unique to you? Is it baking? Is it barbing? And especially, even if you're considering moving abroad, it's one thing to keep in mind as well. Um, my hairdresser in London was a Ghanaian lady. Like, she literally makes hair from her room. She doesn't have a shop. She makes hair from her room, and people come from different parts of London, travel miles to come and make their hair there. And throughout my stay in London, the whole 3 years, she was the only person that touched my hair. So imagine that kind of loyalty to her skill, because she's good at what she does. So that's one thing to consider. If you're moving abroad as well, have a skill, know something that can help you make, £10 a day, £20, whatever. As well as in Nigeria as well. Like, yeah, just have something, learn something, and help yourself, especially with technology, social media at your beck and call these days. Like, you can literally pick up your phone, Android, iPhone, whatever it is, set up a TikTok channel, and then, just whether you're talking or you're dancing or whatever you're doing, it's bringing you something at the end of the day. So have something. It is very, very, very important. And I think it's something that universities, I know, universities teach entrepreneurship in school, but they should make it more serious. Like, they should emphasize it more. I feel like university prepares you for a job. Like, you are going to university with the hope of getting a job one day. No, it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't be with the hope of getting a job. It should be with the hope of, when you graduate, what do you want to do for yourself? Okay, with this thing, with this degree that you've learned, you didn't just earn a degree, you learned, something out of it, whether you did chemical engineering, whatever it is. You learned something. What do you do with that knowledge that you learned? What do you do with the skill outside of a 9 to 5?
Yeah, okay. And maybe in terms of your, maybe let me take you back to the UK.
Can
Yeah. What are some of the challenges?
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I had a call.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, I'm back. So yeah, it's just important. It can't be overemphasized. It is super important to have a skill. Just have a skill, have something. I used to think, let me just mention this before I wrap up. I used to think that I didn't have a talent as a as a child growing up. I used to think I didn't have a talent. Like I was praying to God, oh my God, my sister. So we are 5 girls in my family, and I'm the first. And I used to think that, oh, my sisters can do this, they can dance, they can bake. Like they had tangible, visible skills. But me, I really didn't think I had any. And I was praying to God, I'm like, bless me, like I need a talent. Like, why do I feel left out? And then on the side, I've always enjoyed writing. I used to keep a diary from like way young. I used to, my dad would buy newspapers from when I was a kid, like a toddler. I enjoyed reading and also writing. And I remember back then in secondary school, I was, writing novels. I was also buying novels that I finished reading. I would sell them to my classmates. So that was like my gig. I didn't realize that, oh, writing or whatever it is was a talent at the time, because we are also very limited by our environment as well. So I currently mentor a child. I think she's 10, 12. She is based in the UK. I mentor her. She's a writer, a young writer, and she's an author. And I look at her and I'm like, I wish I had that opportunity that she has. Like in school, her teachers encourage her to use her talent, like as a writer. Like if I had that opportunity as a young person, I probably would be a renowned author by now. So being in the right environment and being around people who help you discover your talent as well. And just going back to how I now discovered that I did have a talent was when I started writing stuff and sharing on Facebook, and people would be like, oh my God, you write like Chimamanda, oh my God, you write like one popular person, blah blah blah. And they could relate. I was just basically sharing my opinion, or sharing stories. I love telling stories. And then people just would come to me for advice. What do you think about this? Or like they wanted to hear my thoughts, and I felt like, okay, this is something that I enjoy doing. For me, I was just doing it for fun. But then people started to call me writer. Like that was where the name came from. So sometimes it comes from outside. People like see you and say, hey, you are this. Sometimes it comes from inside as well. You can look at yourself and see, hey, I can do this as well. So self-awareness, self-discovery is also very important in terms of career development and just being useful to yourself. So yeah, just have something that you are good at. Yeah.
Okay, this might be a little bit. I don't know how you. What is your take on AI? And because AI. One of the core things about AI is the ability to generate good text, right? And it seems like anyone now can become a very good writer. From your perspective, do you see that as a good assistance to you, as a tool that can really assist in your writing, or you feel like if someone wants to become a very good writer, they should really keep the tool aside? What is your take on AI and becoming a good writer?
Okay, that's a good question. In Nigeria, we would say if it is not Panadol, it can never be Panadol, right? Um, AI is great. As you said, I like that you use the word assist. AI can help you. Hey, maybe you write an article, you can put it on ChatGPT or whatever platform there is these days and say, hey, look for errors there, edit. Like, see, like AI is still not there yet. It's still far from replacing human intelligence, like human experiences. So I am not worried that AI would replace writers, or people who are not inherently writers can just use AI and pretend to be writers. No, I still get writing gigs. People who contact me on LinkedIn or on different platforms to say, hey, content writing, blah, blah, blah. So it cannot, if otherwise, people would not be reaching out to writers anymore. So it is just an assistant tool. AI can still make mistakes. There are some articles I've brought out of ChatGPT, and I've seen errors. They've been full of errors. So it can still make mistakes. And there's nothing like authenticity. There are things that I've experienced in my life, and when I write about them, and you just see the awe that comes with it. AI can never. what's it called? ChatGPT can never. So it is what it is. Like authenticity cannot be replaced. This is what I believe, and that is what, as a writer, at your core, that is what you bring. That is what, as a creative writer, that is what you offer. Like nobody, I don't know if there might be people who write better than me, or but nobody can share my experience the way I do, like my authenticity, my the way I do it. Like I don't think there's anybody, people that can be better, but nobody can be progress or very cool. So AI cannot replace. I do not think. I do not worry about that at all, because I am so unique, and like things I even want to share and talk about, things I want to do, books I want to write. I believe they have people. Some people have not even gotten the idea, So yeah, I'm not worried that AI will replace or take jobs, or people would. No, I'm not worried because of how good I am at what I do. Yeah.
Great. And now, okay, so how do you use the tool? And if yes, how do you use the tool in your day-to-day writing skills?
Okay, so for me, I use ChatGPT. I mean, I have less need for ChatGPT, because, like, if I show you my notepad, that is like the first point of call when it comes to writing down my ideas or things up in my head. So I have like overload of content already. So I'm not. It's only when you are short of content that you can go on ChatGPT and say, "Hey, write about this," or "Write a story about that." I have tons of content that I'm even yet to share. If I want to share an article every day for the rest of the year, I will still have more than enough for like many more years. So I have more than enough to share. So, but then how I use ChatGPT is, one, you can use it to edit your work. But you also need to use your eyes to like check for any errors, whatever, on the article. So use it to edit and say, hey, look at this and take away, errors or whatever. Or hey, this is a long article, make a tweet about it, or break it into sessions, or summarize it. That's another way you can use it. And you can also use it to brainstorm as well. So, hey, ChatGPT, I want to write about this. What do you think about blah, blah, blah? You can like brainstorm with it and chat with it as well. And then it just helps you uh, to have ideas. And yeah, if you're a creative writer, or if you're a creative person, you just need, like, you can get inspiration from sitting by the sea, or by sitting or discussing or chatting with someone. I've written like 3 articles today, and these are things that I just experienced, and I just started writing, and then I've written over 8,000 words. So you can get inspiration from that, as the same way you can get inspiration from brainstorming with ChatGPT and just playing on the platform. You can get inspiration from them and then write something authentic on your own. So it can be used in multiple ways. These are just a few ways that I use it. I don't really use it to generate content, because I have more than enough content already. Yeah.
Okay. So my question is about what do you think of what are the opportunities in becoming a writer? Okay, we know a lot of people now. Everyone is trying to move into AI and data, or to tech in general, because we know, you mentioned yourself about the opportunities, right? But the fact that you yourself, you're not rushing into the tech, you're still with your still being in the as a like stay in your writing environment, is that something you can advise someone, a kid like the 10-year-old, to keep up doing what she's doing? Are you sure that can guarantee someone a job?
That's a good question. So, writing is writing is just an aspect of my talent. It is a major talent for me. It's what I lead with, but there are also different aspects of my talent, or like there are different ways I can use writing basically. So writing is basically communications, and communications cuts across different organizations. So I'm sure there's comms in even tech companies, in Facebook, Google, whatever. There is tech team in NGOs, there's tech team in the health sector, there comms team rather, there's comms team in the health sector, there's comms team in government, politics, like people communicate. So currently, as I mentioned earlier at the beginning, I I'm a consultant for an overseas company in Europe, and basically what I do for them is communications consultant. So they come to me with, I go to them, they come to me with like, hey, can we share this? What do you think about this write up? Or can you write this up? Or can you do this? What do you think about this survey? What should we change? So writing is an aspect of communication. So, as a writer, you're not just limited by, hey, I can only write. No, you can write about AI, you can write about different things, like writing cuts across different sectors. So you're not limited. I would argue you're not limited with that. So you can write books, you can write articles, write for organizations. You can convert your skill from writing to speaking. So it's quite diverse. It is quite diverse, and it's either you have it or not. Writing is not something that you can. Yeah, you can learn it, but then when someone is a talented writer, you can easily tell. So it's either you have it or you don't. So yeah, if there is a young 12-year-old, 10-year-old, whatever, that loves writing, I would say keep it going, because if I had someone tell me that, I would be, in the seventh heavens right now with my writing skill. So yeah, keep it going, keep writing, and you will grow. Like, you would be I think, I don't know if you know Chimamanda. She writes. She's a writer, but she gets invited to whether it is government events, to come and speak about politics or about economy or about racism or about Nigeria, talent, skills. She's a writer, but she travels the world. And today, I don't know whether she does a business or she has a company. I do not know that. I only know that she's an author, she's a writer, and that is what people know her for. That is what people contact her for globally. So yeah, it's just, I would say, if you're a writer, you have, like, the world is your oyster. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. So I don't know, before we wrap up, I don't know if maybe Dam, do you have a question for Progress or any other one on the call? I think I see David. Maybe one last question for her from the audience.
For me, no question, just to say thank you. I really found this insightful, just to hear you speak about um, Nigeria, to writing, to creative writing, to communications. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so Progress, just so I think, when, like, if someone wants to really know more about you, about your work, or if they need your service, so where can they find you? Just, one last,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Progress Oberiko on all platforms, on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And yeah, you can find me with that name. And yeah, just hit me up, drop me a DM, and yeah, open to connecting. And before, I know you're the interviewer, I want to ask you a question, Evo.
Okay.
Great. So, obviously, on your profile or your bio, is clearly written that you help non-techs transition into AI. So, let me throw the question back to you. As a writer, how do you think my skill will be relevant in the tech industry, or how can I transition into AI?
Good. I think that's a good one. I think one of my, I think I was like maybe a month ago, I wrote a post about some of the non-tech, let's say, career options. Someone that's having a non-tech degree can really pick up in the AI space. Could be this AI, kind of an AI translator or an AI writer. And you yourself, you mentioned that as well. Writing is a key aspect in the AI space as well. Let's say you do analysis, you must communicate that analysis to non-tech, because at the end of the day, the business, the stakeholders are always, most of the time, non-tech degree holders, and the tendency is that those with technical backgrounds, they always want to write technical jargons. So as a non-tech, for you, you can actually, put the words or the try to communicate in a way that this non-tech, let's say, the decision makers will really, really understand. I think that is a role you can play. But I will not really, if you ask my opinion or recommendation, I will not say you should jump into start learning the core technical skills of, let's say you want to do Python or those things. No, I would just say stay in your lane. You do have something that most tech guys will not have, which is that writing aspect. So because you can communicate well, at the end of the day, we must communicate the results. And if you can really just be the lady on the fence that understands the business side of the things and you understand the technical folks, then you're just, some, I think you have, probably I'll say you like you're at the, you have a technical position in the business, because you understand both the tech guys and you understand the business. So that's what I would really advise. And technically, yeah, it might be surprising to you that, yeah, I'm also not being technical anymore. I'm moving towards the business side of things, and it's more like me writing and communicating. So I'm trying to improve on my communication skills. I also try to write. I write articles. I think I shared one or two of my articles with you. So you see, I'm
Yeah.
moving towards you instead. So you shouldn't move towards towards me.
The
Yeah,
grass is not always green, right?
yeah. Yeah, but anyways, it's good though. I would say learn the AI things, just the basic. You need to understand the technology, understand the jargons, so that if you are to talk with the technical guys, you should understand them, and you should also understand the business. And you said you had a business degree, so I think you're more suitable if you have to transition. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe Ndam can answer you because he's also my partner. Maybe he has something, he has a different way of looking at it, but I just have a soft spot for non-tech guys.
Yeah, if I could just, what I would say will not be too far from what you said. I would just add to say, I think people with the kind of talent Progress has, I think I'm calling them correctly, Progress, are always needed in the tech company, because you see, like it was like, at the end of the day, no matter what you do, no matter you have a solution, you have to communicate, or you have a finding, you have to communicate these findings. For us, for me in particular, in a company where I work, we have communication experts, people who write. So, of course, for example, if I have to publish an article advertising a service that we do, I don't just, of course, I'm going to write the article, yes, but I don't just publish it. It has to go to a writer or the communications department. And those people in that department are people who, like Ivo said, understand the technical part a little bit, then they understand the non-technical, so they put together, they're just somewhere in the middle, and then they explain this thing to someone who needs the service in a simpler way. So I just want to say, yeah, there is a place for you, Progress, to be precise.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyways, so thanks for that addition. Yeah, Progress. I would want to thank you so much for. Okay, I think David is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ivo, Dam, and Progress. I think I'm very happy this evening to have joined this call. You people have talked a lot of essential things today. I do really believe that a lot of people should have been here to listen to this, because just like so many people who wanted who wanted to go abroad, I also left Cameroon, my country, and I was just I was just moved by the excitement of going abroad without any plan. And when I arrived here, I realized that it was not the way I thought or the way people presented it, and I had my own fair share of it. And I'm so happy that that is what you people have actually talked this evening. And I believe that there are so many people in Africa, not just in Nigeria, in Cameroon as well, that needs to hear this, that before you move abroad, you really need to have a clear plan on how you intend to to access jobs here, because if not, it is really is kind of the job market is kind of wild now. So I really thank you so much. I'm happy. I'm happy for this. I thank Ivo so much for organizing this and progress, and and thank you so much. Like, that is just what I wanted to say, and thank you so much for organizing this. My only regret is that so many people have not joined. I sent this invitation to so many people from Cameroon to join. Unfortunately, they have not joined because they are the ones who have been on my inbox that they want to come. They want to come abroad, but I'm surprised that none of them even came today. So thank you so much. This is a way of empowering our community, which I think you are doing it so well.
Thank you, David. Thank you
Yeah,
so
thanks,
much.
David. Okay. Anyways, I think I have a record somewhere, so also I maybe at the end of the day I'll edit and have it on upload on YouTube. Then I don't know, maybe sometime in the future again I can still check on progress if she's available for another talk, and hopefully others will join the call.
Yeah.
No, for sure. This kind of we should organize this often. I think so.
Okay. Okay, guys. I want to thank you. This was meant for 1 hour, but I think we have covered like 1 hour 40. I hope progress it did not maybe shatter your evening evening plans.
Okay. Good time. Thank you so much for organizing this, Ivo.
Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. Progress, I will follow up with you, privately.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, guys.
Guys, bye bye. Good
Okay,
evening.
bye.
Yeah.
Okay.